What's up, you guys? It's Mr. Hamilton. I'm back in this thing. I'm gonna quickly go through this video and try to keep it under 5 minutes of what you have to do for your Thanksgiving project. All right. So I'm gonna combine seventh and eighth grade kind of together because they're doing the same activity overall. There's just different material, but the steps in the process overall is still the same. So seventh and eighth grade, y'all can get everything you need from this video. Here we go. All right. So looking at this, you first identify the keywords within our question. I'm gonna highlight some of those. Whoops, wrong one. I'm gonna highlight some of these keywords. We highlighted constitution. We highlighted tyranny as two of the most important terms within the text or within the question. All right. Next, these are things we did in class, just going over it. We got an overview over here, what this is dealing with. I don't think I have an overview for my A grades, but you do have the background essay, which we'll get to next. Documents A, federalism. Documents B, separation of powers. Document C, checks and balances. Document D, big states versus small states. All right. So these are the documents you'll be analyzing later on. The hook question. This is something that pretty much everybody we did in class. For my seventh graders, your hook, you had to identify what problem could be caused by this scenario here. All right. So what possible problem could arise from the states having the power to ignore tax laws? And most of you did a really good job on that. You just identified what problem could arise. No right or wrong answer. All right. Next, we had the background essay. We had to annotate the essay. We had to highlight key information within each paragraph. Outside of those paragraphs, you need to have a movie title that best represents the information within that paragraph. All right. So, for instance, in this first paragraph, they talked about wealthy white men, and they talked about some states not showing up to the Constitutional Convention. So we called it no show. All right. And you write it right outside of it. You do that for each paragraph in the background essay. The next thing we have are the background essay questions. Most people got to this, but some classes didn't finish. But long story short, you use the background essay information that you annotate prior, and you use that information to help you answer the questions accurately. All right. You also have some terms down here that you need to define using the text. All that's from the text. The next thing, understanding the question and pre-bucketing. So you use these questions to help you understand the questions a little bit better. The overall question, which is how did the Constitution guard against tyranny? So analytical question is asking you pretty much what is that question really asking you to find? What is the main thing it wants you to try and point out? What terms in the question need to be defined? We pointed that out, Constitution and tyranny. So you type those terms there or write those terms there. You also rewrite the question in your own words. And I know we know how to do that, but you just restate the question using new words. Add an explain, add an analyze, and add a what or how. Words that'll take it up a notch and maybe require more information. The next thing we had to do was identified our categories. So you want to label these buckets with categories. Like this first one, I called it rights. Based on what I looked at in the document titles, look at these document titles, you guys. At the top on our cover page, document D, federalism, separation of powers, checks and balances, big states versus small states. It lets me know that I know some things within those documents are probably going to be dealing with rights, possibly. So I labeled my first bucket as rights. I called it rights. And all you're doing here is just labeling the possible categories that these documents can go into. All right, simple. I know you got that. Next, you have the document analysis. There's some questions underneath each document that you need to answer. All right, you need to just outright answer. Don't worry so much about citing evidence here. Just answer them with the correct answer using the information above it. All right, and you have 5 documents: B, C, D, and D. That's it. All right. So you only have a few documents to knock out. They have question amount varies. All right. After the document analysis, you get back to the buckets. So why do you see buckets twice? This time around, you have analyzed the document so you know exactly what they're dealing with. So now that you have a more concrete idea of what they're dealing with and what categories they can go into based on your analysis of them by answering the questions, you may want to change some of your original bucket titles. And if that is the case, you write them down here. Now, if you want to keep them the same, you can do that as well. But you have options. So you write those titles down here. The only new step you're going to do is you're going to put the bucket letter within it, the category that it goes with. So for instance, if I call this one rights, just do it R for short. It's kind of hard to draw with this. But I'm kind of getting good at it. All right, here we go. All right, just say I call this one rights, and I think that document D or A goes well with this. It talks a lot about rights in those documents. Just saying that that's the case. I'm just scenario hypothetically speaking. I will put A there for document A goes in that bucket. And more than one document can go in more than one bucket. So it just varies. You just need to decide on which categories do those documents fit into. All right, to get an idea before you start trying to write. Now, the next thing we have is thesis development and roadmap. The thesis development and roadmap, you guys, a chicken foot that we use. It has 4 toes on it on here, but you only need to be worried about 3 toes. 3 body paragraphs, 3 topics for those paragraphs, 3 toes. All right. So on the chicken foot below, you're going to write your thesis. All right. Your thesis is always an opinion and answers the many question. For instance, you'll subtract how and did and just say the Constitution guarded against tyranny by protecting rights, um, the power of the government, and the voices of the citizens. All right. Whatever your 3 topics are, all right, based on your analysis, you'll list those 3 on these toes. All right. Don't worry about the 4th. You only do 3. You'll restate the question here. Boom. Make it a statement leading into those 3 topics. And that's going to be your thesis, what you're going to be focusing your writing around. All right. After you have that, the last thing is your outline. Your outline is going to be, I'm going to accept this as your essay. Now, I know some of the spots are kind of small and some of you write kind of big, so your words may not fit directly in there. So you can flip it over and write it on the back, but I want it to follow this order. Okay. So this order, you guys, is key. The grabber, background. I got a video already on YouTube discussing each of these steps. How the grabber grabs the reader's attention. It's like a catchy phrase or something dealing with the overall topic that will draw readers in and make them want to find out a little bit more about it. Next thing, background info. Stating the question with key terms defined. Thesis and roadmap. You'll have that already done from up here. So you just write that over again down there. And now, when you get to your body paragraphs, you have a baby thesis. That first toe on the chicken foot is the topic of your baby thesis. So you just lead into that. All right. So, for instance, if that first toe is talking about rights or how saying the Constitution guarded against tyranny by protecting citizens' rights, let that be the first paragraph you talk about. I might start my paragraph by saying citizens' rights were important for the United States from its creation. All right, from its creation until now. Period. Something that kind of starts it out and leads readers into knowing what this paragraph is about. It's about citizens' rights. All right, protecting them. All right, so you want to make sure that you're following that all the way through. Chicken foot. Second paragraph would be the second toe on the chicken foot. Third paragraph would be the third toe on the chicken foot. All right. Your conclusion is a restatement of the main idea. All right. So whatever you start off talking about in your body, I'm sorry, your introductory paragraph, paragraph 1, you want to finish kind of rehashing all of that material again. All right. So, if you have any questions, try to hit me up on remind you guys. I'm trying to hit y'all back a little bit fast. I've been slipping the last few classes and not getting back in touch with people, students and parents fast enough. So I'll shake back on that this week. I also want to go over before we get out of here. And what time? Which time I got left? Let's check it out. I'm well over my time, but oh well. But I also want to go over and show you the rubric. This is the one that 8th grade was doing. Different topic, but overall same steps. The hook was different. Today we had a little game in class called Grudge Ball, but all the other steps are exactly the same, you guys. So just follow those all the way through. Most of this we got through. All right, everything's still exactly the same. All right. I want to look at the rubric really fast, you guys, before we get out of here. Let's take a look at that rubric. I got to pull it up. Let's see. I got a minute. Let me pull that rubric up, and I'm gonna let y'all go enjoy the rest of y'all break, at least this weekend. You can knock this work out. We got before they cut me off at 10 minutes. We got 9 minutes left. So that's the essay rubric. See if I can find it. There we go. DBQ essay rubric. So finishing up, you guys. Just want to touch on this rubric. It is a 50-point assignment. You have a thesis, 10 points, addresses the task overall, the question, trying to answer it, 10 points, analysis, showing that you analyze all of the documents, showing that you also use the documents within the text. That's 10 points. Accuracy, making sure that you don't have too many errors in your writings, 5 points, and organization, overall neatness of the entire DBQ. 5 points. So a total of 50 points, you guys. Take advantage of this. I'm going to use this to replace